Hi, this is Andrea. Following two incredible seasons, I'm now back with season 3 of the Neurodiverse Voices podcast. If you're listening or watching for the first time, I am the mother to a beautiful autistic daughter with whom I learn a whole lot every day. This has been my motivation to found and host the Neurodiverse Voices podcast. So join me and my guests in this mission to raise awareness and increase understanding. Together, let's make this world one that embraces and accepts difference. Welcome to the Neurodiverse Voices podcast. This month's guest of the Neurodiverse Voices podcast is amazing. She dedicates her career to support her local community. She is the lead children and family worker at Kidlinks, which also includes a weekly session for children with special educational needs. This is called SEN Squirrels. She's also a volunteer at the SEN-friendly rugby sessions on Sunday at Gosford All Blacks. And she told me all about these initiatives. Please welcome the March 2025 guest of the Neurodiverse Voices podcast, Rachel Rea. This is season 3 of the Neurodiverse Voices podcast. Hi everyone, welcome to the Neurodiverse Voices podcast. Today my guest, she's very special to me and I admire her very much. I had the chance to interview her, to do like a short interview a few months ago at the Katie Peel SEN Rugby Festival at Gosford All Blacks, and today I have the pleasure to have a full interview. Welcome, Rachel. How are you?
Hi Andrea, I'm really good, thank you.
Are we ready to start?
I think so. Yeah.
So Rachel was telling me she was a bit nervous, but there's no need for that. We're just having a tea together and having a chat. So Rachel, I think let's start from the beginning. And I wanted to ask for you to share your journey into working with SEN children and their families, and what inspired you to come here. One thing I forgot to say actually is that Rachel runs Kidlinks in Kidlington, which is a support group for children, and as part of that there is SEN Squirrels, which specializes in special educational needs children. So apologies for having missed that start.
Yeah, so my journey into doing the SEN specifics is kind of come from me. I've always worked with children and families. That's just been my career. And so I have a lot of knowledge on child development, working with and supporting families. So when it came to starting up the SEN group, I was already running Kidlinks, and I could see that there was a huge need for this type of group, for those families that weren't benefiting from our other groups. So it was really important to me to be able to provide something for all the families that we come across, not just those that are maybe neurotypical and that are comfortable in our bigger groups.
Yeah, that's great. And can you tell us a bit more about SEN Squirrels? What kind of activities? What makes it different from sessions like the typical Kidlinks sessions? What can parents expect to have for the children on SEN Squirrels?
Yeah, sure. So a big difference for the SEN Squirrels compared to our other groups is it's a lot quieter. We have so much flexibility with it, and that we have our activities are varied, but we try and keep everything in a similar sort of routine. So every Friday, everything is kind of set out in the hall. We have a quiet room. We have access to the garden if we want to. But I think a big thing is that everybody that comes understands that families that are coming to this session may have additional needs. They may have children that display different behaviours to, neurotypical children that come to, say, our Little Acorns group on a Tuesday. And that understanding and that space for those families that maybe struggle somewhere else, they know that this group is for them. But yeah, what I said in the beginning, it's a lot quieter and it's easier for everybody to kind of get what they need from this group.
And is there an age restriction, or is it open to all ages?
As a rule, Kidlinks is aimed at 0 to 5s. So we do focus on that, but we have had children that are older. Obviously, there are children that are maybe not going to school, to a mainstream school, and they might need the services that we can provide. So we've had a 6-year-old before, we've had an 11-year-old. But obviously, these children sometimes don't have they don't match the age of other children in that age bracket. They kind of when they're learning. So they sometimes find that this group is actually quite suitable. So we are flexible on that age range, and we do encourage parents to get in touch if they feel like it would benefit their children.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing. So yeah, if you're local, and even if you live in Oxfordshire, just reach out to Kidlinks. I'll also add the links to Facebook to your pages, so that the audience can have a closer look, and have your contact details on there. So on the side of Kidlinks and Squirrels, there's also the SEN-friendly rugby sessions on a Sunday. So you are a volunteer at Gosford All Blacks, right? And yeah, this is led by Darren, your husband. Can you tell us a bit more about that as well?
Yep, I can try. Personally, I don't do an awful lot on the Sunday with the SEN group. I actually coach the under-7s, so that's kind of my group that I look after and nurture. But obviously the SEN group is my husband's group that he started up about the same time that I came up with the idea of SEN Squirrels. So we kind of went off on these two different routes, and his rugby group has just gone so well. It's gone from strength to strength, and obviously I hear a lot about it at home. So I would say Darren's biggest support in starting up that SEN group. I help to kind of give him advice and support wherever I can on that. And it's just been amazing to see, and wherever I can help with it, I do. I see some of the families that may come to the groups that we do at Kidlinks, especially the SEN group. So there's that connection as well. It's a local Kidlington family group.
Yeah. And what do you think the role that the SEN rugby sessions play in terms of fostering inclusion and bringing all these families together? And can you share maybe a success story of a child who has thrived in the SEN rugby environment, for example?
Yeah, they're doing amazing things with the group each and every week. So they, fostering inclusion, they try and do lots of what they would do with the younger groups anyway, with within the rugby. So they're providing the same things, but they adapt them. They make sure that they cater to each and every child. If there's a child that wants to do something different, they'll try and provide different equipment. And it's making sure, physically those children can be involved as much as possible. They have quite a few volunteers, so there's lots of one-on-one or one-on-two with the parent support, so those children are really supported. And when families go through really difficult times, the volunteers are really there for them. There's a little boy, his mum is no longer here, and the rugby community has really gathered around them just to support them and make sure, dad is okay, that the little boy can come to rugby whenever he feels able to. So I think that's just really heartwarming for those volunteers that run that group to be able to do that for families like that. And going from that is, you're going from the SEN need to another need. So it's just making sure that everybody's included and feels at home and safe and loved.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, having attended a few sessions and the KTPL festival, you always have this amazing family feeling, and I think that's very important. Not even focusing on possible strategies, inclusion strategies and approaches, but really just to have that group that you go and see on a Sunday and who are there for you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think we see the same with our SEN Squirrels. I mean, you get those same kind of feelings from it. It's even if you only get 2 or 3 families showing up every week, you help a family in some way. As volunteers, it's usually me and Hayley, and we come away from every Friday having felt like we've helped somebody. And I think for us, that just makes the job really worthwhile, and it makes everything worth it.
Yes, thank you on behalf of everyone for everything you do. In terms of strategies, are there any strategies or approaches that you take with the children? And let's go back to SEN Squirrels, because it's more your main role. Anything that you can share that has been effective with special educational needs children?
Yeah, I think it's being flexible, making sure that, even if you've set up a room with lots of different activities that you like the look of, if there's, I always say to the parents, if there's something your child really likes, if they're really into trains, I will go and get that out for you. And parents love that we can just adapt and, just provide something for their child specifically. Something that will make their child feel more at home and more kind of settled in. It's giving them the space, if their child's kind of having a tantrum, it's asking if they need help, or, just come and call you if they do need that help, but just letting them have that space to kind of deal with it in the room. So yeah, definitely flexibility, but also giving the parents a chance just to chat and have a coffee, offering them a cup of tea if they haven't had a chance to go make it themselves at the counter. So just making them feel at home, I think.
Yes, that's great to see, and we have a lot of that already. But yes, the more we have, and speaking, through my own experience, the better, because I think it means a lot to everyone that there's people like you having these initiatives and helping the SEN community. And how so? From your connections and the families you work with, what would you say, and what do you see as being the biggest challenges that families with special educational needs and neurodivergent children have?
It's always feeling comfortable where they are. It's finding a group that they feel like they're accepted into. And I think the loneliness for these families when they feel like they can't go to a group because of a behaviour their child is displaying, or being excluded from a group. Maybe it's something they've signed up to, and then the teachers have asked them to not come anymore because they can't deal with the child's behaviour in that group. The more time goes on, I think, with a neurodivergent child, the more that family becomes isolated. So I think it's just heartbreaking to kind of see that. And I think if we can provide a safe space where they feel like they can come and they don't have to leave because of said behaviour, I think that's a huge win. So definitely battling that loneliness and making families feel welcome where we can.
Yes, that feeling of isolation that I would say most of us go through at some point in our journey. Yeah. And in terms of how would you like to see communities and society change towards special educational needs? And that's a bit of a wide question. But is there any ideas that you have? How would you like things to change in the benefit of these families?
It's to build more awareness. It's to make everybody who's involved with children understand that all children aren't the same. It isn't a black and white, you're either this sort of child or this sort of child. There are so many different children, so many different families out there. And it's building the awareness in people that work with families to say, to have them understand that all families are different, all neurodivergent children are different, and it's catering to all those different needs. In our schools, I think there could be more done in teaching, those that care for our children, that there are ways of teaching each child that child's going to benefit from. Everybody learns in different ways, and that, more so if your child is neurodivergent, I think. So it's just something really important to think about.
Definitely, it's about that flexibility that the education system is lacking at the moment, or that we are starting now to see a glimpse of change, but there's still a lot to do. If anyone who's listening or watching would like to get involved or support Kidlinks and SEN Squirrels, how could they get involved? Could they get involved, and how can they? Yeah,
definitely. We're always looking for volunteers. So, volunteers with any experience, especially when we're looking at the SEN group, if anybody would like to come and help us run the groups, bring any expertise to help support the parents, they'd be more than welcome. We just we go through a safer recruitment process for that. Also, as with any kind of charity or any not-for-profit organisation like we are, it's finding the funding to keep us running. That's really, really important. So I think building awareness is going to help us get that funding in. So if anybody can help with things like that, we're always looking for somebody that can help us write, fundraising grants, apply for them. It's something that we just have so little time for. If we could have more people that could help us with that. So we'd really love to see this group keep running. I think it's really important, and the families agree. And my volunteers agree as well. Hayley, that helps me every Friday. We're very passionate about what we're providing. So if we can keep it going, keep supporting families, it will grow, and we'll be here to stay.
Yes, and maybe we can have a chat and see if in the million other things that I do, if I can somehow support without investing too much time. But I would definitely be happy to do so. So now focusing a bit more on you, and I think I know the answer to that one. Who is the biggest support in your journey?
Oh, it's probably always going to be Darren, my husband. I think we bounce off each other. Obviously, I mean, I've got probably the most experience with child development, but where we both do these roles now, I think we bounce off each other, and just it's just having that person to listen and to kind of go, am I right in thinking this? Is this a really good idea? Am I wrong or am I right when I'm battling to keep this group going, or to kind of when you come up against obstacles that say maybe you shouldn't keep running the group, how do we work around that and keep the group going, keep it building? So he's just been amazing, and we've kind of been learning together on this journey. But apart from Darren, having amazing volunteers. I've mentioned Hayley about 3 times now, but she is brilliant because she's a mum of an autistic child. She's very passionate about what we do. She's got a lot of experience. So having people like that around me is just amazing, because we can't know everything. So having other people that do know more than you sometimes is the way forward, I think.
Yes, there's this cliche quote, which is alone we can do little, but together we can do so much more. Yeah. And it's very important to have the right people around us. I personally, I have ideas, but then I always feel like I need that group of people to go to either finesse them or put a brake on me, because I just want to do everything. So but you and Darren are definitely a very inspiring couple, and it's lovely. We think we should have more of that in the world. And how do you treat yourself? I guess you have a very busy life as well. What are the things that you do to care for your well-being? Can I just double check? Did you play rugby, or do you? Okay. No, actually, rugby is brilliant. I was trying to think, what do I do? Yeah, rugby. I've played for a couple of years, so not long, with the women's team at Gosford All Blacks, which has just been brilliant on a Monday night. I haven't played for a couple of months because I've had some injuries. But generally, every Monday night, just getting together with a group of people, you have a laugh on the pitch, you get some really good exercise, and it's just an amazing sport. So I love it. I've never enjoyed exercise, and this is the only thing I've ever really enjoyed. So it's been brilliant. And I'd recommend it to anybody, or just any sort of exercise, just to kind of get you out there, to get your mind off of, when you're so busy, getting your mind off of it, getting that exercise and fresh air. Otherwise, kind of making sure I set aside time, and I'm not always working every day. It's making sure I say, right, this day I'm not going to look at emails, and I'm going to spend time with my family, or I'm going to do my housework. As much as that's not fun, it's like making sure I get those other jobs done, so they're not kind of whirring around all the time in your head. It's about setting boundaries and setting up that me time that
Yes,
we all very much need.
Yeah.
And who is your biggest inspiration?
When we're talking about SEN, Leandra is really inspirational. I saw her this morning, actually. She runs Centipede. I know you know her really well. So I met her at the beginning of having this idea to set up SEN Squirrels, and it just so happened she was trying to set up, a group for children with SEN. And we came together, and this is where we started SEN Squirrels. She doesn't do it with me anymore. She's had to step back for personal reasons, but she's always there in the background. She helps with the rugby, and I just think what she does as a mum and for other families is amazing. So, and she's always there if I need kind of advice on anything to do with SEN. If I need speakers to come in, if there are people I need to network with, she's there to kind of say, "Oh, talk to this person," and I just think she's brilliant at what she does.
I agree. And you can. I've interviewed Leandra. She was, I think, my second guest. So if you want to know more about her, just go back to the previous episodes and find hers. But yeah, she's very inspirational, and I feel exactly the same. If you need anything, she's always there. And yeah, she's a bit of an encyclopedia. It feels like she knows everyone and the rights. And yeah, she's always able to signpost us to what we need. So yeah, and she's an amazing person as well. So great. And if you were a superhero or had a superpower, what would you like that to be? And how would you use it to change the world to be more inclusive of special educational needs children?
I said a really difficult one. I spoke to Hayley about this earlier. And we said maybe knowing what everybody thinks so that we can help everybody how we want to. But then we thought maybe that's a dangerous thing. I suppose having the superpower to make change for all families, to give everybody empathy, I think, was just make the world a more empathic place, so that our children thrive. Would just be in my heart, that would just be amazing. So I don't know if that's really a superpower, but it's
Yes, I'm sure it is. And we can just be creative and invent new superpowers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes total sense. And it would be amazing. And what are your hopes for the future? Another one.
To grow SEN Squirrels, to have more families attending, to connect more with all different family support services. Just so that our families are more supported, no matter the background. Just to keep growing and getting the support for that growth, I think. Yeah.
So that change can happen as well, because I really feel like people like you who are doing their small parts, we are already making change. It's just that it takes a while. So that superpower would be very handy because we could just change things from one day to another. But yeah. And finally, if your heart had a voice, what would it tell us?
My heart had a voice. It would say, everybody please come to our groups and just know that we are here for you. I think reaching families and making them aware that we are friendly and we want to support them, because it's so scary going to a group, I think. So it would be, to say to families, we're here to support you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. So yeah, audience, the links will be provided, and yeah, just listen to Rachel and come around to Kidlinks. And as she said, and having my own personal experience, it's not easy to get out there. I think there's quite a lot of blame and guilt and self-stigma, at least at the early stages of the journey. But yeah, when we become brave and do it, I can assure you that things can only get better. So Rachel, thank you so much. It has been a great pleasure to interview you. Thank you for your time. I just wanted to say that I had a bit of a technical problem, which is the usual in the Neurodiverse Voices podcast. So we had to share a microphone. And is there anything you would like to say, Rachel, to finalize the interview?
No, just thank you so much for coming to speak to me. It's just so amazing what you're doing, raising the awareness, and it's lovely being a part of that to keep families informed and make sure we can reach as many people as possible. So thank you.
Thank you very much. This is season 3 of the Neurodiverse Voices podcast. I hope you enjoyed Rachel's interview. Our conversation has been a great pleasure, and I hope that if you live in Oxfordshire, not too far from Kidlington, that you can join the many support groups offered by Rachel and Kidlinks. Thank you for listening or watching the Neurodiverse Voices podcast. I will see you on that site on Saturday, 5th of April, with a new episode that will take us back to research. Dr. Alex Lauzou, clinical psychologist and MRC fellow at the University of Oxford's Department of Experimental Psychology, is my next guest. He is researching mental imagery and trauma in autistic young people. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on the latest episodes. I will see you on that site in a few weeks. Bye!